Hey, what's up everybody? It's me, Larry the Batman fan, and I'm back with another video. The wait is finally over on the Nintendo Wii top 20. I said top 15 in the beginning, but I'm going to do a top 20. Anthony Chobot does pop culture. Calling you out, man. When we going to see that N64 top 15, man? Still waiting on it. That's the system you chose to do a top 15 for. I accept it, but I'm still waiting for you to do a video on that. Hopefully that video will be coming soon. I wonder what's going on with Tech2D Gamer. I know he retired his channel recently. If you get back to me soon about a top 15 or something, that'd be nice. Anyways, yeah, I'm not going to delay the inevitable here. I'm going to show you guys, well, tell you guys my top 15 and give reason behind why they're my, or top 20 rather, why they're my top 20. There's a few games I unfortunately do not have. I probably had them in the past, but they got traded off for various reasons. So I'll just mention them on this list. So without further ado, let's start off with number one. Number one, this is the best game on the system. And I'm going to tie in the second game. I don't have the second game on me. I don't own it currently. I used to own it, but that game is in here too. This is the number 1 and 2 spot. Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. With massive worlds, lots of things to explore, enemies to fight in each world. There's this teleportation thing that takes you from one spot to another. The music in the game does keep you engaged. It may not be as memorable as like the NES games, the Super Nintendo games, but the music in the game is still pretty good. Gameplay is fun, and you're basically just trying to save Peach from Bowser. The graphics look beautiful, and it's really a strong title. I mean, this is an essential if you have a Wii, or if you have a Wii U like I do to play your Wii games, since the Wii U is backwards compatible. Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 are must-owns if you have a Wii. If you don't have a Wii but you have a Wii U, that's fine too. But you must have this game because it is excellent if you have a Wii. So that's number 1 and 2. So you figure, what's number 3 and 4? Well, I'm going to tell you guys. I do have a copy of Skyward Sword supposed to be coming in the mail, but the seller has been delaying the inevitable, and I can't. I messaged the seller about where's my Zelda Skyward Sword game, and that person's saying that it's probably delayed because of the post office shipping or tracking or some shit. I don't fucking know, really. I wish I knew. But I'm going to give the seller till Monday and then find out what's going on with Zelda Skyward Sword, because I really do want that game in my collection. But that game is number 3. That game is amazing. Lots of great gameplay in that. Lots of exploring, grinding. It'd probably take you like 40 hours to beat that game, or 50 hours. Zelda Skyward Sword is a great game. And also for number 4, Twilight Princess. Zelda Twilight Princess. That game came out originally on the GameCube, but then it was ported to the Nintendo Wii. So I could still count it here, even though it is a port of the game. The game may have a few annoying nunchuck motion things that you have to do with the controller and nunchuck, rather. But yeah, it is a fun game, riding on the horse and killing enemies with your sword in the game. So that's why I recommend that. It's a good game. Excuse me. So those are 3 and 4. Now, number 5 is Resident Evil: The Umbrella Chronicles and The Dark Side Chronicles. I'm going to tie that one in too. Why? because it's my list. I can do whatever the hell I want. But yeah, Resident Evil The Umbrella Chronicles is a Unreal shooter. It takes place in Resident Evil 0 in parts of the game. But I think it also has some parts of like Resident Evil 2 in the game, or Resident Evil 1. It mashes both of them together, but it does it in an Unreal way. That might have sounded weird. Unreal. But yeah. So this is an Unreal shooter in the Resident Evil universe, and it does pretty well for the Wii. I do recommend this game. It is a lot of fun. It does get very challenging though as the game progresses. I mean, I got this one part we had to fight a boss in the game, and I got my ass handed to me like 5-10 times, and it got frustrating. It's like, it's like I really want to get past this part. I want to see the rest of the game. Damn it. But I eventually did, but it took a while because of that damn boss. Very frustrating. But it was a good game. It's a very good game. I recommend this and the Dark Side Chronicles. They're both good Unreal shooters. Even the Resident Evil 4, I'll show you the back. Even Resident Evil 4 was pretty awesome on the Wii with the nunchuck and the remote. You could play that way. But it's a port because it originally started off on the GameCube and then made its way to the PS2. And now it's been ported several times, the Resident Evil 4 game. But yeah, great game. I highly recommend it. Now, number 6 here, we have Mario Kart Wii. This game's great. A lot of fun with the campaign. Although it does seem like they rehashed the game levels from like Super Nintendo N64 and GameCube days. And they didn't really add too much new to Mario Kart Wii as far as the tracks go. Except for some like mirror tracks where you're racing backwards throughout the same track. So, I mean, I wish they had added some like newer tracks. I don't remember them adding very many new tracks into this game. Excuse me. But yeah, the game is still pretty fun. It's also why this game's only at number 6, because like they were a little bit lazy on this game. I mean, like they should have added some Wii tracks. Like, put some fucking effort into your work, Nintendo. Give us a few extra new levels for Mario Kart Wii, and they didn't do that, so that's why I can't put it any higher than 6. But it is still a pretty fun game. The racing is fun. Throwing blue and red shells and green shells at your enemies is fun. Collecting the star power up and running people over with the star, trying to get into first place is really fun, you know. A lot of good that could be said about Mario Kart. And the online in the game was pretty fun too, except for the little bastards that like to cheat in the game. But other than that, the game was great. Coin Runners was fun. Balloon Battle was fun, you know. The game's just a damn near perfect game, you know. Really fun. And number 7, I don't have number 7, unfortunately, so I'm just going to talk about it. It's the best fighting game on the system. You can't go wrong with this game. Sorry, got a little... had a little sleep in my eyes, sorry. I've been working the past 3-4 days, so I finally got a day off to record this video, so just bear with me. But yeah, Super Smash Bros. Brawl is next, and my goodness, this game is amazing. Like, there's only been a couple of fighting games on the Nintendo Wii that I'm aware of. Tournament of Legends, I think, was one, which was just a below average fighter. Ninja Turtles Smash Up, and then there was Mortal Kombat Armageddon, which was a port from the PS2, and also Tatsunoko versus Capcom. There wasn't really that many fighting games on the Wii that I'm aware of. Only a couple. So the best one is definitely Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Lots of hours of playing multiplayer with your friends, and it's just an essential game. It's a lot of fun playing as like Kirby and Mario and Luigi and Samus from Metroid. You got Fox McCloud and Falco and maybe Peppy and Slippy, and you even included Snake in the game from Metal Gear Solid, and Sonic the Hedgehog, I think, was in the game, and Pac-Man, which was awesome to do. Or Pac-Man might have not have made it in this one. Actually, I don't think Pac-Man's in this one. He's in the Ultimate one on the Wii U. But I could be wrong. It's been a while since I played the game. And, you get a bunch of the Pokemon characters as well. And you get that guy from F-Zero, Captain Falcon, in the game, and Link and Zelda. So you get a lot of good Nintendo characters, and you put them in a fighting game, and it works well. The game first released on the N64, you thought it'd be a disaster, but as it turned out, it was surprisingly good. The game's pretty fair and balanced, and the fighting mechanics work great, and it's just a blast playing with friends. It's a decent amount, a decent time rather, by yourself playing through the campaign, but it's just not as fun, I feel, without at least one friend to play with. If you can get at least one friend to play with you with this game, then it becomes a blast. Number 8 is Dead Space Extraction. I also do not own this game, so I'm throwing it in here. Dead Space Extraction is a great Unreal shooter game, and it proved that mature games could be done well on the Wii as long as they didn't half-ass shit. They actually made it fun and worth playing. The game does get progressively hard as time goes on, but the game is still fun to play. And it's your typical Unreal shooter in the Dead Space franchise. Only 2 of you survived, though, and you're working together, you and this girl, to take out the necromorphs and try to save humanity from all these aliens, these necromorphs that they call, that kill people and are trying to take over the world. It's done very well, and I highly recommend it. And it's different. I mean, it's a horror game, but it's a little bit different than your typical Dead Space 1, 2, and 3 for PS3 and 360, because those games were not on rails. They were horror games with some shooting in it, third-person shooting. Number 9. Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. You take the first 2 Metroid games that were on the GameCube, you do port it over to the Wii, although I didn't play Metroid Prime Trilogy on the Wii. But I have played the Metroid Prime 1 and 2 games for the GameCube. I played those versions of the game. I liked the first game and the third game. The second game was a pain in the ass. The second game was pretty frustrating. But third game here for number 9. This is an excellent game where you play as a girl named Samus in the Metroid robot suit, and you're just a total badass throughout the game. You go through the levels, you shoot aliens and kill things, and you can rev roll into a ball to get through small little spaces. And it's just a blast to play. You got like a grappling hook where you throw it, grapples onto something, you're swinging back and forth like this. It's just a great game. I highly recommend it. If you guys are looking for some good Wii games to play, this is definitely up there. So, number 9, Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. And number 10 is No More Heroes 2. I don't own No More Heroes 2 currently. But another M-rated game on the Wii that was excellent. It's a brawler type of game, but it's very violent. And not for the kids. It's got a lot of language too, and blood and gore and sexual themes in the game too. play as a guy named Travis Touchdown, who's basically on the lower totem pole of assassins. Excuse me. He's trying to work his way up to the top and become the most lethal assassin in the world. The first game was also pretty good. Not as good as the second one. So in the game you kill assassins, but it gets at a certain part of the game where it breaks up the monotony of it, and you're doing chores for people, like walking a person's dog around the block or mowing the lawns for people to make yourself some money, so that way you can upgrade your weapons and things like that. Become a more destructive assassin, more lethal assassin. And it's just done so well. And it didn't have those annoying driving stages that it had in the first game, which was kind of a pain to get from point A to point B unless you knew what the hell you were doing. So I put No More Heroes 2 up there in the top 10 because it's a great game. Number 11, Epic Mickey. A very fun game for the Nintendo Wii. Also, Epic Mickey 2 is also a pretty good game too. I do recommend this game. It's a platformer game with Mickey Mouse and a universe, and you have like your weapon is like a wand here, where you can spray paint the world. You can also use it to whack enemies as well in the game. It's just surprising that Disney made something outside of the Kingdom Hearts franchise that was actually worth a damn, that didn't suck, and was actually pretty fun. And Epic Mickey was definitely one of those games. It's really not a bad game if you have a Wii. Number 12 is Super Monkey Ball Step and Roll. This is a good game. Haven't had much time to play it. I know there's also Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz, which is the preferred game, because this one actually you could use that little balance board thing. See it right there in that corner. I don't have the balance board, so I just use the nunchuck and the controller, the Wii remote. But yeah, you could use that balance board with this game. I know that balance board was also used for Wii Fit and Wii Fit Plus as well. But it is a pretty good game. It definitely had a few issues though. It wasn't a perfect game. It's probably like a 7.5 out of 10. But you know what you do in Monkey Ball. You're a monkey inside of a ball. You go through the levels trying to get from point A to point B and reach your goal. But you can't fall off the grid. You kind of move it back to the right or the left, and you work your way through the little maze to get to the end. I will say the GameCube versions, the Super Monkey Ball 1 and 2 on GameCube, are probably the best Monkey Ball games you could play. But Super Monkey Ball Step and Roll and Banana Blitz aren't bad games either, especially for the Wii standards. So now we're at number 12. We got Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 here. I could have put Call of Duty World at War up here, or Call of Duty 5 World at War, or Call of Duty Black Ops up here as well. But this is the only one that I currently own on the Wii. And plus, I wanted to throw a shooter game in here or two, because the Wii gets shit on for shooters being crappy, that they're not that great of a game for the shooters. But this is one game on the Wii that I will say is not that bad. And plus with the motion controls, it actually adds to the enjoyment of the game. It plays different than it does on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 versions where you have a controller. Now I did hear that they shortened down one of the levels or something in the game. I don't know if that's true. Like one level is missing or something from the game. I don't believe that. I think it's a lie. But the game is pretty good. It's a good shooter game. It's why Call of Duty is still around to this day, because they've proven that Call of Duty games are pretty fun. I do feel that Call of Duty has gotten a bit stale over time, with them making one every single year. They shouldn't be doing that. It should probably be every 2 to 3 years. So it's almost like they're milking the series, but I still think that this game is great, even for the Wii, and I like what they did to change up the Call of Duty formula a little bit for the Wii standards. It's definitely fun if you have a Wii for number 13. Are we on number 13? Let's see here. I didn't want to miscount. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think we're at number 13. I'm sorry. If I miscounted, I do apologize. Day Blob is next. Metal Jesus Rocks has talked about this game so much in his Hidden Gems video that I'll just say it's a game where you go through the levels as a blob and you color the world because the world is boring. So that's basically what I can say. Metal Jesus Rocks went more in depth about this game, so I don't think I need to tell anybody about it. Some of the games that he mentioned too were also hidden gems. I mean, that's why I called the videos Hidden Gems, because he was trying to reach the crowd here and say, you know, there's some good games on the Wii. It's not all crap and shovelware. And I guess I'm trying to fill the void as well, because I'm talking about them as well. Okay, so for these last, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These last 7 games here are ones that either didn't sell well or I consider them underrated and not as well praised by people, but I still think that they're good. So number 14 is Ninja Turtles Smash Up. When I had to choose between this or the movie-based game, of course I went with this, because the movie-based game I've heard it sucks. And also, I know there's a Power Rangers game on the Nintendo Wii, Power Rangers Samurai, but that game also sucks. So I wasn't going to put those on the list, so obviously I chose this. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Smash Up is a good game for the Wii, and I don't think many people talk about this game. It's a fighting game in the Ninja Turtles franchise, and it's really a blast to play. You get to fight Shredder in the game, you get to fight Krang, or Kang, however you pronounce his name, and those other rat-looking dudes, and that Rhino. And you put them in a fighting game and you just fight them with Ninja Turtle characters, whatever Ninja Turtle character you choose. I know there's 4 of them. And you might be able to play as Casey Jones and April O'Neil in this game. But yeah, it's a great game, and it's definitely underrated, and not a lot of people talk about it for the Wii. But you shouldn't skip out on this game, because it is a blast. So that's number 14. Number 15, this is another game that I consider underrated, and I know Metal Jesus Rocks never talked about it. It's Build and Race. Build and Race is a very fun game for the Nintendo Wii. You build cars in the game, and then you can run them on the track and race against other cars in the game. It's a typical racing game, but it is very fun, and it does have some customization in it. Kind of reminds me of Mod Nation Racers, but not as cartoony. And you don't have to do that ridiculous crap that you have to do in Gran Turismo, like getting a driver's license and all this other stuff. So yeah, you just build a car and then you take it around tracks, racing opponents. They have time trial levels in the game where you just race around the track and see how fast you can get around the track within 3 laps. And see what your best time could be, like 3 minutes and 50 seconds or 4 minutes and 10 seconds or something like that within 3 laps. But it's a great game, and it's definitely highly underrated for the Wii, and I recommend it if you guys have a Wii. It's worth checking out. Number 15, this game gets a lot of hate, and honestly, it's one of those games I don't understand why, because the game is fun, and that's Red Steel. Now, I know Red Steel 2 is a better game overall, but that doesn't mean that this game is bad, despite what some people think. I thought the game was pretty fun. I thought it was a pretty good first-person shooter where you play as a guy who wants to save his girlfriend from a bunch of thugs. They kidnap your girlfriend in the game, and you basically have to save her. And you use the Wii and the nunchuck controls to move and navigate around the levels. You shoot bad guys and kill them, and then you move on to the next level. I never beat the game. I got pretty far, but from what I played of the game, it was a lot of fun. Now, I will say that there are parts of the game where you had to use the sword and fight the bad guys. That was a little bit annoying, but it wasn't overly annoying. And, it just overall was a great first-person shooter, I like it. Stop hating on it, folks. It's really not as bad as everybody says. And for the 15th spot, I think that's a safe bet to say it's definitely still decent enough. It wouldn't make my top 10. Most definitely would not make my top 10. But for number 15, it's a no-brainer. Like, Red Steel is one of the best shooting games on the system. So this next game at number 16, I have a big love for Agatha Christie books. I love books that are mystery related, so of course I got this game. I know there's also And Then There Were None, which was an okay game, but not as good as this one, Evil Under the Sun. It's a much better game. It's a point-and-click adventure game where you play as Gavier Pardot, I'm not sure how you pronounce his name. And you go through the levels trying to solve murders, trying to find out who did what, who killed this person with what weapon, a knife, a rope, a necktie, or maybe a gun shot wound. And so that's what you do. And it's a really fun game, and I highly recommend it if you have a Wii. It's definitely something you got to check out. The graphics look decent for the system. They're not mind-blowing, but they are decent. Certain Wii games, for some reason, don't really look up to par with the Wii. They look more like Nintendo 64 games. For some stupid reason, they didn't take too much time on the graphics. They took more time to make the gameplay, but didn't focus on making the graphics look good, like Super Mario Galaxy. So, which was pathetic. So, I said number 16. That might have been 17, actually. I think that was number 17. Apologize. Number 18 is the Marines Modern Urban Combat, another shooting game on the Wii. I thought that this game was good. I liked it. You're a team of 4 going through the levels. It does have a few tactical elements in the game where you're commanding an army. The army does listen to you, your squad that is. They go from left to right, or they do what you say 9 times out of 10. And you just go through the levels, doing mission-based objectives, and you shoot bad guys on the screen. For a Wii shooter game, it's not bad. But it definitely doesn't get enough praise. And I definitely consider this game underrated. Although one thing I will say, the graphics really don't look like Wii graphics. They look more like N64 graphics. They really could have made the graphics look better. But unfortunately, they didn't take enough time with the graphics. They focused more on the gameplay, as I said before. But yeah, I still think it's a pretty fun game for a shooter. And then the last two I want to mention here is Star Wars: The Clone Wars Republic Heroes. It's also available on PlayStation 2. It's a really fun game based off the TV show, which I thought the TV show was good. Play as a Jedi in the game, go through the levels, hit in stormtroopers and droids and stuff. And it's got like some side-scrolling in it as well. I thought it was pretty good for a Star Wars game. It was inevitable that I put a Star Wars game on my list because I love Star Wars. I'm a big Star Wars fan. So that's number 19. And then number 20 was another underrated game, hidden gem, in my opinion. And that game is Dragon Blade Wrath of Fire. This is like an action adventure game where you play as some dude and you go through the levels, you kill like enemies on the screen. You even get to fight enemies, boss battles in the game, dragons and all these other things. It's got that medieval vibe to it. It kind of plays like an action RPG a little bit. But then again, I consider it more of an adventure game. But I didn't think it was a bad game. I thought it was a decent game for the Wii. But the graphics definitely suffer and are not up to par with the Wii, for sure. Definitely don't look like Wii graphics. But I still think the game was fun. And I definitely think you guys should check it out. Find this game for like $10 or less. Don't pass it up. It's definitely worth $10 or $8 or $9. I think that's about what I paid for it. So I recommend Dragon Blade Wrath of Fire. Those last 6 or 7 games there, folks, were underrated games for my list. Now, of course, there is some other Wii games that are worth owning if you have a Wii. The Wii is not complete crap when it comes to the library of Wii games. Super Paper Mario, rather. That's a good Wii game. Super Mario Sluggers. These are the honorable mentions, by the way, if I didn't say that before. What else? Super Mario Strikers 2, Charged. And then there's also Mario Party 8 and Mario Party 9, which are also great. Obscure 2, The Aftermath. That's a very good survival horror game. Very fun. Medal of Honor Heroes 2, which I do own in my collection. That's a fun game. And also Medal of Honor Vanguard, even though it's a port of the PS2 version, but still a great game. And also, what else? Alien Syndrome, Mortal Kombat Armageddon, Xenoblade Chronicles, Monopoly of the Streets, which was also on 360, but that's a good game. That's a good game if you have multiple people to play with, rather. Trying to think of what else is good on the Wii. Dayblob 2. Those are some of the games that I can think of. Oh, Sonic Colors. Almost forgot Sonic Colors. Oh, and Kirby's Return to Dreamland. That's great. And Epic Yarn. Kirby's Epic Yarn. So those are some that I can mention that are honorable mentions. But I also do have some others here that I want to mention. Broken Sword. Shadows of the Templars. This is a good game if you have a Wii. I recommend that. And then, speaking of which, I do have it here. Medal of Honor Heroes 2. I already talked about that. It's a good game on the Wii. Speed Racer, the video game. A good license game on the Wii. The Wii had three or four good license games. This one, Ice Age 2, The Meltdown, or Ice Age 3. I think they made both of them on the Wii. But they're both good. And X-Men Origins Wolverine's a good game on the Wii. Even though they toned down the violence in the game, but it's still good. But yeah, this is a fun racing game for the Wii. Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Double Agent. Amazing that this game got a port on the Wii. I didn't even know until recently that it was a port. But it's a good game, a good stealth game. I recommend it. A lot of fun playing Sam Fisher, taking out the bad guys. And in that game, you are a double agent in the game. You literally are. You're working for some bad guys trying to get information. But in the meantime, you're not a bad guy, if that makes sense. And it's really good. Transformers, Cybertron Adventures. I think this is a pretty good game. I know they also made the Transformers the game and Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. I don't assume those are any good. I played the PSP ports and they suck. But the Wii versions, they may be decent. I don't know. Never played them. But this game's pretty good. Cruising. Of course, you gotta love Cruising. That's a great game. All the cruising games are excellent racing games. Very arcade style racing games. They were a blast to play. Star Wars, The Force Unleashed 2. I also do recommend the first game on the Wii. Whatever system you get them for, they're great. PS3, 360, or the Nintendo Wii. They really are a blast to play. And this is a pretty fun platformer game with a bunch of ninjas. Plays a bunch of ninjas in the game and go through whacking bad guys with the sword and stuff. It's mini ninjas. So those are the games that I recommend if you have a Wii. The games that I think you should get if you own a Wii. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this Nintendo Wii Top 20 video and the honorable mentions. Thank you for tuning in. God bless you all. Thanks for watching. Larry the Batman fan signing off. Peace.